There's a very American reason mashed potatoes almost always land at the top of the favorite side dish list. They're smooth, rich, and still perfectly fluffy. They smell like butter, and they're basically the ultimate blank canvas for any kind of topping. Straight up, mashed potatoes are the meal's rescue plan. If something on the plate is a little too dry, mashed potatoes fix it. Whether you're 9 months old or 99, it's hard to hate a spoonful of hot, silky mashed potatoes. But you'll love them even more when you don't have to make them yourself. No peeling, no boiling, no scrubbing pots, no kitchen cleanup. Your job is just heat and eat, easy like pressing an elevator button. In about 5 minutes, you've got mashed potatoes ready to hit the plate. And that's exactly what we're talking about here. Bob Evans mashed potatoes. So how do they turn real potatoes into those smooth, creamy trays inside the factory? Let's step onto the line and see what's going on under that plastic lid. Bob Evans is one of the big players in the mashed potato game. Every year, they mash more than 100 million pounds of potatoes, and that supply doesn't come from just one region. It's sourced from multiple growing areas all across the U.S. To get that classic American mashed potato texture, light, fluffy, and smooth, they lean heavily on russet potatoes, which a lot of people jokingly call Idaho potatoes. Russets are high in starch, low in moisture, and they don't hold their shape well after cooking, which is exactly what you want, because once you mash them, you get a loose, airy, fluffy result that just hits right. About 6 months after planting in March and April, harvest season kicks off in late September. Since potatoes grow underground, farmers use specialized digger machines that can cut down about 10 inches deep, lifting the whole row up cleanly. From there, the potatoes ride up onto a vibrating mesh conveyor that shakes off dirt and sand, then move through screening systems that remove vines, rocks, and other debris, keeping as much of the good stuff as possible before the crop leaves the field. Once a truck is full, it heads straight to storage. This is where semi-mechanized sorting runs non-stop. Potatoes are sized, and any that are too small, bruised, or off-spec get pulled out. The ones that pass are packed into ventilated wooden bins so they can breathe, which helps control moisture and keeps them stable while they wait. And when it's time for the next shipment, those russets hit the road to Bob Evans' main plant, where they start their journey into mashed potatoes. Every day, up to 8 trucks roll into the Bob Evans plant in Lima, Ohio, each one carrying about 50,000 pounds of russet potatoes. When a forklift lifts the bin and dumps the load, the potatoes come pouring out like a potato waterfall, dropping straight onto the receiving conveyor. From there, the belt carries them into the raw storage area, where each bay can hold up to around 48,000 pounds of potatoes. And once those potatoes land in these bays, there's a really good chance they'll be processed the very same day and turned into mashed potatoes. Next, the potatoes are pulled out of the bay and sent onto a vibrating conveyor for sizing, where undersized or off-spec potatoes get separated out before moving on. Because to turn a rough, raw potato into smooth, creamy mash, it has to travel nearly 1/3 of a mile inside the plant. And that journey starts right here on these conveyors, heading straight toward the washing area. In the washing area, the potatoes step into what's basically an industrial bath station. A rotating brush system scrubs off the dirt, along with any tiny sprouts on the skin. The whole thing happens inside a rotating drum washer that looks kind of like a giant washing machine. High-pressure water sprays non-stop, heavy-duty brushes scrub the potatoes from every angle, and the swirling water keeps them tumbling so none get missed. And this system is no joke on speed. It can wash up to around 3 million potatoes a day. Next, the potatoes get lifted up on a vertical conveyor and fed into the steaming chamber. Here they move into large pressure vessels, where high-pressure steam is blasted in to shock the skins so they crack and loosen. Each cycle is super fast. Around 300 potatoes get hit with steam at the same time, and that's enough to make the skins separate from the flesh almost instantly. After that, they pass through a roller-style peeler to clean up any stubborn bits that are still hanging on. This step doesn't just make the potatoes cleaner, it also makes the surface look better and more uniform. With the skins fully cleaned off under the factory lights, this is where the hands-on inspection starts. Workers line the conveyor and watch each batch go by, quickly pulling out any potatoes that are badly damaged and cutting down extra large ones so they'll cook more evenly in the next step. Next, the potatoes get dumped into a dicing machine and tumbled in. If you cook whole potatoes, you always run into the classic problem. The small ones cook first, the big ones cook last, and you're constantly trying to time it so nothing turns to mush while other pieces are still undercooked. So to get that smooth, fluffy mashed potato texture, the plant has to standardize the size right from the start. Inside the machine, the potatoes drop into a drum spinning insanely fast, around 1,200 rotations per minute, and they're pressed against the first set of blades to slice them into sheets. Those slices immediately pass through another blade cluster that cuts them into long strips, and then circular cross-cut blades chop straight through, turning everything into uniform cubes. Everything has to be the same size so it cooks at the same pace, which means the next cook comes out evenly tender, and the mash turns out smooth, not lumpy and not watery. The result? The potatoes leave the cutter as neat 1-inch by 1-inch cubes. Inside the next machine section, the potato cubes are still cold, so they get pre-warmed by soaking in water at about 185 degrees Fahrenheit for roughly 2 minutes. The goal isn't to fully cook them, it's just to bring their temperature up enough so they're ready for the steam cooking step. If you skipped this and tossed cold potatoes straight into hot steam, the outside would get heat-shocked, break down too fast, and the whole batch could turn into a sloppy, mushy mess before it even makes it farther down the line. This blanching step also rinses off some of the loose surface starch, helping prevent that starch from converting into sugars that can make the potatoes brown. Now the blanched potatoes take a little ride down a water flume, basically a constantly flowing stream of water, heading straight toward the cooker. Inside, the warmed potato pieces are heated with steam at around 210 degrees Fahrenheit. Because they've been diced small and uniform, they only need about 15 minutes to become fully tender. And just like that, you've got cooked potatoes, ready for their transformation into mashed potatoes. Of course, at this point, they're still a little bland. The soul hasn't shown up yet because Bob Evans' signature seasoning blend is still waiting for them at the next step. While the potatoes are steaming to tenderness, the seasoning crew isn't standing around. Before the potatoes ever show up, that rich, creamy soul has to be mixed separately in a massive blending tank so everything comes together smoothly and doesn't separate. Milk is pumped in first and gently warmed. Then melted butter and soybean oil are added slowly. Inside the tank, a high-speed mixer beats and breaks the fat phase into tiny droplets, creating a smooth, stable, cream-like mixture. Once that rich base is fully blended, they add salt, pepper, natural flavors, and an emulsifier. Then keep mixing until everything is completely uniform. Once it hits spec, the creamy sauce is held warm, ready to be combined with the mashed potatoes. Back to the potatoes. By now they're fully steam-cooked, piping hot, and ready for the most important step on the entire line, mashing. But in a factory, mashing doesn't mean grinding them down until they turn into paste. Right after they come out of the steamer, the potato cubes get pushed through something called a ricer plate. As the potatoes are forced through the plate, they break into small, uniform pieces while still keeping their structure. So those 1-inch cubes get downsized to about 3/16 of an inch. Small enough to feel smooth and rich once mixed, but still with a tiny bit of intentional texture, the way classic American mashed potatoes are supposed to be. The potatoes that just passed through the ricer plate drop straight into a mixing tank right below, where the pre-blended creamy sauce and seasonings are already waiting. It sounds like a simple dump it in and mix, but in the plant, this is actually one of the trickiest steps. Potatoes are a natural ingredient, so every batch can be a little different in dryness and total solids. And when each mix here can be as large as about 2,000 pounds, Even a small shift can change the texture fast. Mashed potatoes are especially sensitive to overmixing. If you work them too hard, they break down, lose that light, fluffy feel, and the texture goes heavy and dense. Finally, the rich, creamy mashed potato mixture gets pumped straight to the filling station. Here, the depositor portions it out in cycles, pushing the hot mash through a pipe system and dispensing the exact amount into each tray or container. Right after that, the trays move directly into the sealing step, where lids are pressed on and locked tight, ready for the next stages of the line. After sealing, the trays keep moving into a spiral rapid chilling system. Inside, they travel along a winding multi-level conveyor path and stay there for about 75 minutes at around 20 degrees Fahrenheit, before this creamy comfort food gets shipped out across the country. Besides the fresh, smooth, tray-packed mashed potatoes, the industrial mashed potato world also makes another, more easy-going version: potato flakes. This one is processed to remove a lot more moisture so it can be stored way longer. When you're ready to use it, you just pour it into a bowl, add hot water or milk, give it a few stirs, and it puffs back up into mashed potatoes. Quick and simple, like hitting a button for dinner. To make potato flakes, the process loops back to right after the potatoes are mashed. But this time, the goal isn't to keep them moist for ready-to-eat trays. It's to pull out as much water as possible. The mashed potatoes are spread into a thin layer and fed onto massive drying drums. These drums are heated to around 212 degrees Fahrenheit, and as they rotate, they spread the potato layer across the surface so the water evaporates quickly and evenly. When it comes out of the machine, what you get isn't soft mash anymore. It's a thin sheet that looks like paper, but it's still potato. That sheet is super brittle. It cracks with the slightest touch, so the next step is to crush and break it into small flakes at the right size, creating the finished potato flakes that get packaged up. As for flavor and texture, this flake version is basically almost all potato, like 99% potato, plus 1% of a little something. And that's the whole journey of how Bob Evans turns real potatoes into a rich, creamy comfort food you can heat up and eat in minutes. So what do you think? Are you team smooth and creamy tray mash, or team potato flakes where you just add water? If you want me to break down another process that's just as American as this one, drop the food you're most curious about in the comments below. And now, I'm off to find some gravy. Okay, fine, toppings for this mountain of mashed potatoes. See you on Food Tech Today in the next episode.